Well, when you're starting a practice, there are a number of legal and accounting considerations that need to be taken into account. Not just, should I incorporate or not? But let's start with that question. When you're treating a patient, you ask a number of questions before deciding on a course of treatment. And in the same way, I need to ask you some questions before I can help you make an informed decision on this question. For example, the answer will depend on whether or not you're married, whether your spouse works, if you have children and how old they are, whether you'll need all your earnings to live on or how much you expect to save in a year and what for. If the circumstances are right, incorporation will allow you to save tax, or if you can't save tax, at least defer it. For the sake of illustration, let's look at some variables. Let's assume your spouse doesn't work and has no other source of income. By becoming a shareholder in your corporation, he or she can earn up to about $40,000 of dividends and pay little or no tax. On the other hand, if you as a practitioner were to receive that same dividend, your tax could be as high as $13,000. So, through income splitting with your spouse, you can achieve pure tax savings. If you don't need every dollar to live on, you can defer as much as 30% in tax by having some of your earnings retained in the corporation. So, incorporation gives you flexibility with remuneration. You can also participate in group health plans, and if your corporation pays for you to attend more than 2 conventions, you can deduct that cost. If and when the time comes when you might sell your practice, you could potentially save tax on in excess of $750,000 of any profit you make on the sale. On the flip side, some of the disadvantages are the cost of forming and maintaining the corporation and possible punitive tax considerations if you're a U.S. citizen. And under certain circumstances, there's no advantage to incorporation if you need all your income to live on. Besides the question of incorporation, here are 3 general considerations for you to think about as you start your practice. First, facilities. That means everything from the actual building space to the equipment and supplies you'll need. Generally, it's more cost-effective to use existing space rather than building new. Accessing space vacated by a retiring physician or renting space in an established medical office building helps minimize cost and may give you access to more patients. Staffing. You must have trustworthy and reliable employees with the right bedside manner, particularly in a small office. Trying to save on staffing will be a decision that you'll regret. Some responsibilities can be outsourced, but if you want to get your practice started on the right foot, make sure you have the appropriate complement when you open your doors for business. Last, relationships. Nothing beats experience, so get advice from an established professional with their own practice. Most doctors are more than willing to help others trying to open up their own clinic. Not only will you learn what they did right, but more importantly, what they would do differently if they had to start all over again. And speaking of professionals, as a financial psychologist for my clients, I leave you with this last thought. Don't self-diagnose. Seeking out legal and accounting professionals will give you the right advice in establishing your practice and help you make the right decisions suited to your circumstances.